It's almost June, and you know what that means, Nige?
What?
Our live tour is only 2 months away.
You are so right, Earlonne, and I am super excited. I know I should be concentrating on the show itself, but I can't stop thinking about our wardrobes.
That's crazy.
I know.
We're going to be hitting the road, performing a brand new live show in 11 cities.
And one of the things we really enjoyed from our last tour was coming out to the lobby after and meeting everyone who comes to the show.
Sign books, take selfies, and just chop it up with everybody. And you know the one thing that always surprises me?
What's that?
When someone tells us how Ear Hustle changed their life.
I love hearing about that. Yeah. Deep. You can find out about all of our tour stops at earhustlesq.com/tour.
And if you're in or near one of those places, we hope you can come see us.
You know what, Earlonne? I just heard from somebody who lives in Boston, and they are driving all the way to Pittsburgh to see us.
Up.
It's like 400 miles.
That's what's up. That's dedication right there.
It is.
Dedication.
Get your tickets at earhustlesq.com/tour.
We'd love to meet you.
My name is Frisch Brandt. I'm a letter midwife. After 40 plus years working with photography and photographers, I've turned my attention to helping people write their essential letters. The following episode of Ear Hustle contains language and content that may not be appropriate for all listeners. Discretion is advised.
So what's the date today?
Today is 3/5/25.
3/5/25, and it's about 10:20. So I'm looking at the table, and there is a garbage bag that's quite full. It's heavy. It's hard to lift up, so there's a lot of photographs. And then there's a box that's actually equally heavy, a Vans box that's full of pictures. And then there's a 5x8 inch envelope, something like that.
Probably.
That's quite small, that is full of pictures. So there's 3 very different ways of archiving photographs and collecting photographs. Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear of photographs. Can you guess what the subject of my episode is?
Well, I'm hoping that it's not a remake of the trash episode.
I knew you were going to think that when you
I'm
heard
hoping that it's not Christmas boxes again.
Yeah, there's 2. Yeah, it alludes to 2 different old episodes.
Okay.
Okay, so before I give you sort of more clues about it, let's just remind listeners what these mystery episodes are all about.
Okay. Usually these mystery episodes are secrets that me and Nigel keep from one another. We don't tell each other what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's how it usually go. But this season we did something new, and we had listeners pick the topics that we talk about.
Exactly. So you and I all season were working on our episodes.
Right.
We didn't know about what the other one was doing, and then
I don't know. I was picking up some breadcrumbs, Nigel.
Were?
I was listening.
Okay, so Earlonne, today all secrets will be revealed.
Okay.
Starting with one secret that's waiting out in the hallway right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Well, hello.
Hi. How
you doing?
Good. Okay, so it's very exciting. We have the actual listener who suggested this idea for the episode in the studio with us right now. This is Becky.
What's up, Becky?
Hello.
Hi.
So I've met Becky before. And I can tell you that her voice is a little bit different today.
This is not your regular voice?
No.
Oh, okay. Was you at a concert last night?
No, but I have been asked that a few times today. I'm getting over a cold and I lost my voice.
It's okay. It'll be back.
So what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the episode, and you all jump in anytime you have something to say.
Okay.
But before we actually get started listening, Becky, I'm going to ask you to read the email that you sent us with your actual suggestion for the episode.
And definitely. I thought immediately about some photos in prison. No, you can't have a lot of different things there. But I was thinking about telling the story of photos that are particularly important to people who are incarcerated, perhaps revisiting the location or people to get additional perspectives, and how to accept that time is passing while still celebrating special moments captured.
So, Earlonne, what do you think?
Well, when I first heard, what was it, the big bag?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
okay, this is Nigel archiving.
You know me so well.
Hey, you're my museum partner.
Exactly. Today on the show, it's an episode all about photos in prison.
Okay.
With all that in mind, I'm Nigel Poor.
I'm Earlonne Woods.
I'm Becky Bach.
And this is Ear Hustle from PRX's Radiotopia.
Earlonne and Becky, that bit of tape you heard at the top, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear, that was, of course, our inside team, Tony, Sadiq, and Tom. And I had asked each of them to bring all of their photos down to the studio. And the thing I love about this project is that it really corresponds with the work I've been doing in my studio for like the last 30 years, which is investigating photography and the objects that we keep around us as a way to think about who we are and how we see ourselves in the world.
Right.
And so I was so excited to dig into their collections and see what was there and to think about how photography collections can be kind of like an autobiographical expression. So the first person you're going to hear from is Sadiq, and he had like 1,000+ photos all in this big garbage bag. So maybe just open it and pull out. Is it going to mess up your order if you pull out something?
It's already messed up.
So let's see. Oh my God. Okay, so there are stacks of photographs and they are organized, but right now they are living in a garbage bag. Was that just to transport them? Or is that how they live in your...
No, that's how they live.
Okay.
I have bags full of pictures.
Next up was Tony. He had all of his photos neatly stacked and tightly packed into this Vans shoebox.
All right, let me get my little shoebox.
That looks like a lot.
That's a lot of pictures.
How many do you have?
Probably about 1,000. They're just in a box to keep them from going everywhere.
Tony and Sadiq may have had around the same amount of photographs, but Tony's were so dense and held together. It's like he almost didn't want you to see any of them. And then finally, there was Tom. He had his photos in this small, like sort of cheap plastic album, like the kind you get at a souvenir shop.
Yep, those are the ones that they sell at the prison canteen.
Maybe there's like 20 some odd pictures in here.
That's it? There's
That's mostly. That's all I have.
So this is the only one where we could quickly count how many he has. 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, 11. It's not even all full.
No.
12, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You have like 26 photographs.
Yep.
That's it. Are you guys shocked?
No.
I'm a little shocked because he's been incarcerated a long time to have 26 pictures. It's like a picture a year, basically. Yeah. That's it.
Why aren't you surprised?
It's very on brand for Tam.
What do you mean?
It's your brand.
Like, what's my brand?
As little as possible.
Oh, okay.
As simple as possible.
I wanted to hear from each of the guys, and not just about their pictures, but also about their collection, how they were organized and what that might mean to them.
Right.
So we're going to start with Sadiq. And I know it sounds like he had this unorganized garbage bag just like filled with pictures. But once I started looking closely, I noticed that on the back of each of them was like this code that he had written. I mean, Earlonne, it was tiny and precise. At first I thought it was printed, but then I realized it was written with a pencil. But I cannot express to you enough how exacting it was. And it turned out this was a system he had developed for organizing them.
His archiving system?
Exactly.
A all the way to 99, then I get to B all the way to 99, and then I got to double letters.
How'd you come up with that system?
I don't know, I did it in the county.
Because you know what it reminds me of?
What's that?
CDCR numbers.
Oh, wow.
Because don't they start with A and then they go to doubles?
Institutionalized?
Do you see any connection there? Sadiq's photographs documented his whole life, like pictures of him growing up, pictures of his family, pictures of friends, pictures when he was in elementary school, high school, all of that stuff. But when I looked at them closely, this was the weird thing. Almost all of them were reprints and had been printed in 2010. Where were you in 2010?
I was in county jail.
Okay. Yeah. So someone was sending you a lot of pictures
My
then.
mom.
Okay.
Because I wanted to get a lot of pictures. it took the stress off my mind.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to think about court. I didn't want to think about everything that I was going through at the time.
When he was getting all these, he was in county jail, waiting to get sentenced. And he was young, he was like 18 years old. And he's kind of like this lonely kid in county jail, not knowing what's going to happen to him. And so he's surrounding himself with all these photographs from his life that his mom is sending him, obsessively labeling all of them and like archiving his life. And Becky, I see the expression on your face. It's really touching as hell. That's how he spent his time in county jail, meticulously making this archive. And then he got sentenced.
Once I kind of like figured out I was going to prison, my mind just switched. Like I didn't really, care about pictures anymore. I don't know. I don't want to just sit here and just be looking at pictures, reminiscing.
So next, we took out that cheap plastic photo album that belonged to Tom. It was very small, very tidy, well organized. And it was interesting because most of the photographs in there, they were of his family, but they were old. Some of them taken before he was even born.
I got some of those type of pictures, Nige.
Did you have him in prison too?
Yeah. I used to ask for certain pictures that I remembered that we had of like my great-grandmother and my grandmother and stuff like that. To have your family tree, on where you come from.
Yeah, nice. Who's that?
Oh, that's my grandma. Those first pictures you saw from the war.
I was wondering because the first ones are black and white.
That's their ID pictures. My grandfather was in the Vietnam War.
Okay.
So when we met my grandmother and he came back, so those are their ID pictures from their passports.
Wow. And then on the back, there's some writing. This is from 1978. This one's from 1974. And they kind of look like passport photographs. One, because they're black and white, but in 4 of them, the people are very serious.
Yeah, like that was after the war.
There were also some more recent ones, not just these old black and white ones. And one of them showed Tom soon after he got to prison. And so I asked Sadiq and Tony to describe what they saw in this picture of Tom. So if you saw this picture and you didn't know him, what would you think? How would you describe this guy?
From the photograph, he looked like somebody I ain't gonna mess with. Yeah, he looked real different. For sure, he looks different. He looked like a gang member right there.
Sort of intimidating to me.
He is right there.
Yeah, you look very different to me. Thoughts?
I just think he looks like a character from a Fast and the Furious movie. Honestly, like movies 1 through 4.
I'm looking forward to also now seeing Tony's. For some reason, I see a bunch of people that look like, I don't know, from Queer Eye, or Straight Guy, or something, like all those like model-esque clothing guys,
Teen Tony.
Whoa. Tony, you look a lot different in there.
So at this point, we shifted over to Tony's collection.
You look like Italian for some reason.
I am.
No, but one of those good fella type guys, right? Lasagna. A meatball. That's what you look like to me.
Yeah.
So most of the photos that are here are taken, almost all the photos actually, were taken post-incarceration.
Just one observation I have is you have a lot more photographs of places and things. They're not all people. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I actually like seeing stuff because I am really melancholy when it comes to people.
A lot of them seem like they're pictures people took when they were traveling.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you see them?
I love it. Yeah, I love seeing photos of places. I normally don't really care about people that much. That's just to be honest.
I don't know if this comes across in the tape, but Tony was really down. And can you hear it? You can hear it, Becky. Yeah, I mean, he was uncharacteristically negative that day, but I'm glad you can hear it. There's something happening there.
You're so pessimistic.
I know. Tony, what is going on? I'm not used to you being like this.
I know.
Is this a drag for you to go through these?
No, it's fine, actually. I always ask for photos, though, no matter of where they're at. I ask for photos constantly.
But when you ask for photos, what are you hoping to get?
Scenery. This is in Cambridge, in England. This college has been there for 800 years. It's not going to change. It didn't change when we lived there. It's not changing now unless it is destroyed. It's like I wasn't there, so I don't have a negative emotion attached to him or a negative memory attached. I just wasn't there.
So while we were looking at this collection, I randomly picked up one photo, and it actually had people in it. And it was a picture of his family, sort of like walking in a line, and then he was at the end of that line, sort of facing the camera.
I don't want to remember that day.
Why?
3 days before I had found out that I was HIV positive, and my mother was like, let's go to Disneyland. And I'm like, yeah, I really don't feel like going at all or doing anything. And so I had to put on a smile.
Did your parents know?
Not at all.
How old were you?
I was 19.
And so how did you get through that time?
It was like one of the only times I've actually cried in my life and felt sorry for myself. But it's like you don't even really know what to do.
And what did your parents inquire what was going on?
No, they didn't even really know. I really was good at faking things. I've been very good at keeping secrets my whole life. Yeah, that was January 2nd, 2010, I believe. I just miss how thin I was then. I'd probably keep it to remind myself that I used to be 140 pounds.
How much do you weigh now?
I weigh 225, 230 now.
How do you feel about memories?
There's still a tinge of sadness to them on every single memory I think of, even of happy moments. Of like, oh, that'll never happen again, or oh, well. Sorry to bring everyone down.
So then I asked each of the guys to come up with just one word to describe the collections of the other two. And Tony went first.
Thumbs would be curated, and Sadiq's for me would be collected.
Thumbs would be, can I use personal? And Tony's will be, I would say, mysterious.
When I think of your pictures, I think of like family or togetherness. Tony's, I don't even know this is a descriptive word, but like buildings or places.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe the photographs without thinking about the way each of you presented them. So I'll give you mine, and it could change if you showed them in a different way. So, Tom, when I think of your collection, it seems austere to me, thoughtful, but also difficult because there's so few, very controlled. It feels like a room that doesn't have a lot in it, but what is in it matters. Sadiq's is very bountiful. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. Joyful chaos, maybe, is what comes across in the pictures. Tony, yours is going to be very colored by the way you are presenting today. They feel very mournful. They feel very quiet and maybe a little glimpse into what really is happening inside of you versus what you present a lot when I see you.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I chose mysterious, because it does seem like that, like something's missing. Something is hidden behind those pictures.
I'm all sad because you guys like have them ready and you want to keep them, and I use mine to prop up my Sully's TV.
What?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Why do you sound so sad about it?
because I wish I just cared about something so much that I actually loved it, but I don't know if I have anything in my life besides my parents that I actually care about. I'm just mostly frustrated because I don't seem to have the same connection.
At this point, Becky had a question that I hadn't thought to ask them yet.
Do they have them hung up at all?
That's an interesting question. So my understanding is a lot of people in prison don't want other folks looking at their photographs, and so they tend to keep them more private. That is what I've heard from people. But then I've walked past cells where people have a ton of pictures up. Mm-hmm. Now, if I remember correctly, and it's been a long time, I don't remember that you had many pictures up in your cell.
So, I was connected to pictures for a while. And when I found myself about to stab a correctional officer over a photo album, I had to take I had to take something out of that and not make it as important to me.
Was he trying to take it away from
No,
you?
he took one of my photo albums because he said that there was and this is him being petty.
Yeah.
He said, this is when they had just stopped frontal nudity, and I had a photo album that was very provocative. He was like, "Yeah, I'm confiscating the photo album because of this picture right here." I came out and was ready to. I was really about to deal with this dude over some pictures. It was the moment when I took the value out of photos. It changed something in me, you know what I'm saying, knowing that I was going to that extreme. So
How many years ago was that?
this was in probably 2005 or 2006.
Earlonne, that story really speaks to the power of photographs. If they had such a hold on you that you actually had to let them go because they had become too important.
Right.
That's amazing. And so that's why I wanted to talk to the guys about specific photographs that were meaningful to them. And to do that, I wanted to give them an assignment that would help them kind of dig into their feelings. So I gave them an example from my own life.
Okay.
This is a picture of me and my mom when I'm 25 and my mom is 50. And there's only one time in your life where you are the half age of your mom, and that's how old she was when you were born. And so on that year, my mom and I went to a photo booth and took a picture of us. And on the back it says, June 1989, Bath, England. I'm 25, my mom is 50. And so after we took it, we ripped it in half. And my mom has 2, and I have 2. And I always carry this picture with me in my wallet. And now I'm much older than my mom was in this picture. I never thought of myself as, I would ever be older than that. And so at once, this is very emotional for me, but it also makes me sad, in some ways, because I think about aging, and I think my mom's going towards the end of her life. So it's a really important photograph that I think I will die with. I would never throw it out. And so what I was going to ask you all to do is to go through your collection and find that one photograph that you would never get rid of, that really speaks to you and that you can tell a story about, and bring it back. But as I was listening to you all talk, I thought there's more topics I want you to think about. And so I'd love you to go through your collection and bring a photograph of your youth. A photograph that brings back a really good memory, one that brings back a bad memory, and then one that you, like this, that you would always keep with you. So it's 1, 2, so that's 4. Youth, good memory, bad memory, and one you'd always keep with you. So clearly this is a huge project. Mm-hmm. And I did go through all of these topics with each of the guys. So the good memory, the bad memory, the one from your childhood, and the photograph you could never get rid of. And it was great because it brought up so many conversations and we learned so much about each other. But there's no way that I'm going to tell you all of them because we'd be here till midnight. So we just picked 1 or 2 for each guy to talk about. We're going to start with Tom. And the photograph that he brought that we're going to talk about first is from a period in his life when he was a kid. And it's when he and his siblings were living with his grandparents.
That's my grandmother. I believe that's during a time when I lived with them, and she's cutting up a bunch of fish. My grandparents taught me how to fish. And I remember just being really happy during the time, My grandfather just drinking a beer. I remember when I would hug him, his whiskers rubbing against my face. I could feel it. And he always smelled like Old Spice. I can still remember the smell to this day, right?
Yeah.
My grandmother, I always remember, whenever she saw me, she had food specifically for me. She'd have a little Tupperware container with the food she made, like chicken curry or deep fried catfish, and she'd have it, and she goes, "This is yours. Nobody else can have it." So when I see it, that's what I think of. I struggle with trying to hold back tears, sometimes when I see them.
Yeah. So then the next photograph that Tom showed us was his good memory, and this one was taken inside of a prison visiting room. Earlonne, you know those very well.
Mm-hmm.
Good memory. Easy one. Me and my girl. This was one of my first times I got to hug her without having to worry.
Earlonne, I think you know this, but Becky, you don't. So Tom has had this serious girlfriend for a long time. But remember, he came to prison when he was really young, and he's 44 now. So this girlfriend of his is someone he met while he was in prison. And that means that they've never actually spent time together outside of prison. So anytime there's a hug or a little bit of affection being shown, somebody's watching. What do you remember from the hug?
I smelled shampoo hugging her. She always feels like, for me, soft. I felt like a warmth, a connection to like another human being, especially somebody I love.
What else do you remember about this day?
I got to hold her hand. Like I think I expressed to you, I'm not an overly affectionate person. I think it's a product of my life. But when I'm really close with my friends, I put my hand on their shoulder.
Yeah.
I might even like half hug them. I did it to Tony the other day. And I know, it felt weird. And like guys say that to me. They go, hey, man, you feel really awkward. But it's because I think I'm just so used to not being close to people.
This is what I think I'm learning about you over the last month, is that I think inside of you is a very demonstrative person, somebody who really wants to show affection through touch, and I mean in a friendly way, and through language. And I see that coming out more and more in you. And maybe that's struggling with this person who's felt very let down and left behind. But I suspect that that's going to become a bigger and bigger part of you.
I hope so. I think you're right.
So where do you want me to start?
Maybe just pull out a couple that you want to tell us about.
Okay, I'll tell you about this one.
Okay, so this is Sadiq, and this is a picture from his youth, and it's probably actually the first photograph that was ever taken of him.
Real light skin, baby.
God. Wow.
That's me. I think I was sleeping. It's like right when I got out the hospital.
So this photograph is at least 37 years old. He's a chubby little baby. Would you ever think this was Sadiq?
No, because you look part Asian.
Look, he's blushing. I love when Sadiq blushes. He's getting red. What surprised me about this, it's a baby picture, right? Like, I think he's actually still in the hospital when it was taken. He actually keeps a copy of this photograph on his wall in his cell, and he loves to show it to people. Yeah.
It's just something about that picture that I like. I don't know what it is. It's just me. Yeah. I like that picture because I didn't know anything at the time, and I was just full of life. And I want to get back to that same state. And I look at it from time to time. Yeah. And just knowing that I don't know. It's kind of hard to. I don't know.
What are the feelings that come up for you?
Sad sometimes because I'm so far away from that little Derrell right there, and sometimes I feel like I failed that Derrell. So disappointment a lot of times too. Like, you bring out so much out of a picture when you just start just thinking and dwelling on it.
Yeah. I actually don't think he felt those sad feelings about that photograph until we started talking about it, because he was really clear that he loved showing it to people. He wanted people, I think, to see him in that naive state or something. Yeah. So the next one he showed us was of a bad memory. And this was actually a stack of photographs. They were like those class pictures you get in elementary school where there's like what we would call a thumbnail now of every kid. So each one was like a grid of 30 kids.
I have like from grade 1 to grade 5.
So tell me about this little kid.
So little Derrell used to get rode on a bike to school from his mom because his dad wasn't there. And I used to always get laughed at.
For what?
Just getting rode on a bike. They made fun of that. They made fun of my clothes. They made fun of my shoes. Just a lot of little stuff like I was just the outsider. Like a few of these students in these pictures was actually bullying and teasing me.
Who were some of the instigators?
So Emerald, for sure, she was just like always on me, bullying me, teasing me. Trinette was always teasing me. Joseph, who I end up, like, we ended up becoming close eventually, he used to always tease me a lot.
Was it like physical or name calling?
So it was name calling, pushing, bumping. If I was getting some water, pushing my head down in the water.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was like real aggressive.
Did you tell anyone about it?
No, I actually didn't. I didn't know who to tell. Like, I didn't want to go home and tell my mom. She was already struggling, and I didn't want to put nothing else on her plate.
What do you think the lasting effects of being bullied are?
Low self-esteem, feeling like you're not loved and cared. I always wanted to please people. Like for my stepdad, when my stepdad came into my life, I wanted to always please him. I wanted to always make sure that I had the right answer. I wanted to always make sure my ears was clean when he come by, or my teeth was brushed, like just small little things, because I just wanted to show that I was a good kid and that wanted to be loved. You know, I didn't want to feel neglected.
Yeah. Were you ever a bully?
I became a bully, yes. Like my teenage years, I realized that I started bullying my own friends. Like, we seen it as we was playing, but no, I was bullying them.
What did that look like?
Trying to toughen them up, push them around. I didn't see that until I came to prison. Like, I was a bully. I turned into the bully.
Okay, so the last person is Tony, and he wanted to show us a photograph that was a good memory for him.
Two people sitting at a restaurant with some food and some tea. It was Mother's Day, 2011 or 2010. So my sister had just moved back up to the Bay Area, and we went to a Mother's Day tea. It's one of those good memories.
Yeah. So at this point, where did you think your life was going? What were you imagining?
Up.
Which
Yeah.
would have meant what for you?
I was a sophomore in college. I had just interviewed with Pixar, and it would have been like a summer internship type thing. I was like really hopeful, and I thought that I was going to do something fun.
So in the photo, they're sitting at this table, and he's with his sister. She's wearing this very like cool leopard print blouse, and she has her hair pulled back with a big black band, and she kind of looks like Audrey Hepburn, you know. And they've got like tea around them and little sandwiches. It's all like very proper.
Everything has changed since that day. Like, she has gotten married. She's had 2 kids. You know, like, she's started her career. Like, that was right after she had graduated college.
Yeah.
That was just like a time of opportunity and innocence and possibility.
Okay. Then after that, we moved on to his next photo.
So, bad memory. And so there's a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's still a bad memory. And it is in a prison visiting room. There is one of those typical prison visiting room backgrounds that make it look like you're living in a fantasy world, but you're really not anywhere. It is of me and my parents when I had barely turned 26 years old. It was on a level 4 yard, and it was the first time I had physically touched my parents since 2012.
And what year was it?
2015.
And what was that like?
It was really weird because that was the first time you really had any physical connection, coming from county jail and then going through reception and then going to my main line and being able to have them come to a visit that wasn't behind glass was... You forget how much your family should mean to you, and you forget how much like these people supported you and cared for you the whole time, right? Because you're so focused on yourself and you're so selfish during your trial. You're like, what's going to happen to me? What's happening now? What's going on? Why is this happening? What did I do? I didn't do that. You're trying to make excuses for everything you did. You're trying to mitigate whatever it is that the courts are throwing at you. You forget that they had lives.
Yeah.
And not just for a few months. This was years that they were dragged along with me.
So you're all smiling in this picture?
Yeah.
What do you see in those different smiles?
I see my dad really happy to see me. My mother very excited that we're able to be in person finally. And I see myself deeply confused and not knowing what's going on.
So when you first saw them after 3 years, what were the emotions that you were having?
I was really excited to hug her, and I forgot how small they were. So I'm 5'9", and my parents are... they're tiny little things. My mother's 5'4", my dad's 5'5" or 5'6", and they were just so much softer than I thought, right? They had gotten fatter and, older, and they're just soft.
Did you hug as a trio, or was it first your mom and then your dad?
It was first my mom and then my dad. I think I held on to my dad a little longer too, because he's been there since the minute I was arrested. He just so happened to be home the day that I was arrested.
Oh.
He actually answered the door for the cops.
Oh. Did you know it was going to happen?
Get arrested?
Yeah.
No.
You were just having a normal day?
Yeah, I just was a normal college student.
What's your last memory of leaving the house that day?
So the police woke me up, and I asked if I could brush my teeth, and they allowed me to brush my teeth. My dad was like, should I give you your wallet? Do you need money? We were so confused. Nothing like this had ever happened to anyone we knew. And I just kept thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Did you ever come home again?
No.
So it's quite emotional for me to see these pictures and hear you talk about them. I guess I feel like this is our first real conversation, even though I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple more photographic surprises coming.
I'm looking forward to seeing what you got up your sleeve.
Yes.
Let's take a little break. We'll be right back.
So I thought long and hard about this, and it's a place that we always used to go to. It's the marina in San Leandro.
So, Becky, you had this very cool idea where we would perhaps visit a location. I think you said add a different perspective.
Yeah.
I took that idea and I put a twist on it. I asked them to describe a photograph that they wanted me to create for them. This is a photograph that didn't exist, and I was going to create it based on their description. And it could be a place where they had experienced something before prison. It could be a fantasy place. It became a kind of collaboration. And so we started with Sadiq, and he wanted me to go make a photo at this spot by the water. It's this little park by a marina, and it's the kind of place you can totally imagine teenagers hanging out at night, because it's a little secluded, easy to get to, perfect spot.
We used to always just go hang out. We'd park our cars and just stand there and just listen to the ocean.
And what would you be seeing as you looked out?
Really just a lot of darkness and just the water. We like to just open the doors and you can feel a breeze.
What time of day is it when you imagine going there?
It was at night. It was always at night. Sometimes we'd just hang out the car. Sometimes we'd just have the door open. Sometimes we'd sit in the car and sometimes we'd get out. But it was always closer to the end of the night. Will you take a picture?
That's my goal.
Okay.
Is to try to go there.
I haven't been there in so long. So yeah.
I would like the photo to be of somebody standing, I'm not sure if it's still there, in front of the Carl's Jr.
Okay.
I don't even know if no, that's actually further down. It's basically where you get to San Francisco City Hall, but where the open drug market is, also known as the farmer's market that goes on once a week.
Down near where the library is?
Down by the library, yes.
Okay, guys, Tony wanted me to recreate a memory that he had, and he was really specific about all the details. And this one took place in downtown San Francisco. What year was the last time you saw this place?
2012.
Okay.
You know.
And why this place?
It's just one of those vivid memories that I remember after I made my doctor tell me that I was HIV positive.
That's where you got the news?
Yeah.
So remember, the way this was going to work was that I was going to recreate the scene from Tony's memory, but I was going to be playing Tony.
Weird.
Yes, and I had to try to recreate as many of the details as I could.
It would be a photo of just a person standing there on their phone with everything going on around them.
What were you wearing?
It is a giant wool knit cardigan that goes down to about here, and it's all blue with like a white stripe on it. It's very oversized.
Okay.
And
jeans?
Of course a beanie.
Oh, beanie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeans. Beanie.
Okay, like I said, Tony was very exact about all of this, including this one specific bag that he wanted me to be carrying.
A Chrome bag? Yeah, it's the brand Chrome. The bicycle. Yeah. It's the cross shoulder, yeah.
He was really scripting this out for you.
So true. I love that. Very scripted. Finally, I need to get Tom's assignment. And this one was going to be a little bit hard to pull off because it was based on a dream that his girlfriend had.
She said, I had a dream that I was at Disneyland with you and you were putting the ears on me. And so after that image was in my head. I go, we're going to do it. And I go, because I always talk about Disneyland. I didn't get,
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to Disneyland. It just seems like the funnest place in the world. The one I wish you could take for me is just a picture of a front view of the castle at Disneyland on a bright sunny day. And of course, I would love if my girl was standing in front of the bridge somewhere with her little Minnie Mouse ears. I imagine her wearing a white t-shirt and some jeans, but such a big smile. All you see is teeth.
Okay.
And so happy, you even see maybe watery eyes. Just being so happy because I'm there. Oh, I'm holding my churro. And then behind her, out of focus, but you can tell what it is.
Okay.
Is the most magical place in the world. The castle.
Okay. And is she holding anything in her hands?
I imagine her just smiling, her hands up, or getting ready to hug me.
These were 3 very different assignments that required different approaches, and it took me a couple weeks to get them done, but I eventually did, and I went back into San Quentin with the photos in hand, and I showed Sadiq his first. Does that look?
This look familiar right here, for sure. This is exactly where we used to be at.
Would you be drinking or smoking or eating?
Of course we were drinking. We were drinking, eating, whatever it was we were doing, of course.
Okay.
It was like our lounge, basically, our outside lounge. You can hear music from other cars. You can see all the stars out because it's dark.
Yeah.
But it's not that darkness to where you're afraid. It's a darkness where it's calm and soothing and relaxing.
Are you laughing a lot, having conversations, just listening?
Dancing a lot. And we'll have deep conversations. Sometimes these conversations will turn into political conversations. It'll start off just playing around and then just what are we talking about here? How do we go from this party and having fun to just now we're on this deep topic? Every time it always ended like that. But it was always fun because we'd do it again the next weekend.
How old are you?
18.
And at that point, where did you think your future was going to be? What did you imagine for yourself?
The next semester, I was supposed to play basketball at Chabot College. So I thought I had it figured out. A lot of my teachers used to tell me, oh, yeah, you have potential. You're going to be out of here. You're going to do this and that. So I always looked at it yeah, I got to figure it out. I just want to go back there. For sure, I want to go there again. That was a long time ago.
Do you want to see the picture?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's it.
Tony's picture, honestly, was like a piece of theater to make it. We actually contacted his parents, and they still had the sweater and the messenger bag that Tony described in the photograph from like 12 or 15 years ago. And so Bruce, our executive producer, went and picked up the bag with the sweater in it. And Earlonne, I don't know if you noticed, that bag was sitting by my desk for like a week. Yeah, of course. Why would you notice it? And it was
You have bags, Nigel.
I know.
You have
I
bags.
I have so many bags. So it was this really weird feeling having this bag here. It was like a sad presence, but it was also like Tony was really here, but at the same time absent because he wasn't. You know, it was something that he had 15 years ago. I'm wearing your clothes.
Yeah. How did they smell?
That's his clothes?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's his sweater.
Did they smell old?
They smelled. There was some sort of cologne, lingering cologne smell on them. I swear to God,
No.
They didn't smell bad. No, it didn't smell bad. There was hair, like animal hair on the
cat.
jacket. Yeah, there was white hair.
My cat.
Little short hair. The sweater felt like it had been worn a lot. It had a lot of like nubs on it. It was pretty big. Like it felt like it was something you wore to hide under.
Yes. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. The photo, the view is of the back of me. Right. And I'm facing this nondescript kind of urban city space.
Mm-hmm.
I look kind of anonymous. Mm-hmm. Right? You'd be hard pressed to tell it's me. And I'm holding the phone up to my ear, and I'm wearing that big, bulky, long Tony sweater. And of course, I've got that messenger bag on me.
He really directed this.
Yes. Oh, yeah. How do you feel about seeing me in your clothes?
I'm oddly happy. I thought I'd be like upset.
I thought you would be too.
I thought I'd be like, oh God, here we go. Because when we were talking to Sadiq, I was kind of nervous. And then like seeing it, it brought me joy that you did that for us. Like,
And you're smiling. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I expected it to not be a good experience for you to see it.
I think it's because I've processed it. You know? Like, I've gone through a lot. And I've gone to therapy for it. So looking at it, I thought I'd be really, like, taken back to it and, you know, really shocked by it. But I'm not. I'm like, I just feel pity for that person. But at the same time, seeing you do it, it just makes it funny. I don't know. It's like, it's hilarious. I'm so grateful that you did this. Like, it means more than I think you know.
Well, it was a very personal thing to do. I just carried everything down there. I didn't put it on until I got to this place. Mm-hmm. So then I put the sweater on, and it was very comfortable. And the funny thing was, I parked pretty far away, and I thought I would take it off as soon as I was done. But when I got back to the car, I realized I still had it on. So I'd walked all the way back to the car wearing your sweater and carrying your bag. And I felt oddly like me and not like me at all, because it's not what I would wear. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, are people looking at me knowing like this isn't really me, I'm somebody else right now? But of course nobody cared.
No.
But I felt like two people, myself and I felt like you, walking back to the car. It was kind of an odd and interesting experience.
That's so strange.
Yeah.
I love that though.
I thought I was going to be sadder doing it too because of the story of the phone call, but it oddly didn't feel sad. It felt like I was on this adventure.
Yeah.
Which was neat.
Looking at this photo is like healing from that day. It's not bringing up any like sad memories.
Why do you think it feels that way?
Well, because I'm seeing it almost like 15 years later, right? I don't know, it just seems healing. Like, I just feel comfortable. I feel safe. Thank you for doing that. I feel safe.
and the last was Tom. And remember, he wanted a picture that didn't exist of him and his girlfriend at Disney. And so there were clearly some challenges. One is that, we're in the Bay Area. We are like nowhere near Disneyland. We couldn't get to Disney.
I get you.
So we had to create the picture.
That's hilarious.
Earlonne, what do you remember about this day?
I remember holding some type of object that you got from New York.
Yes. It was supposed to be a churro. We didn't have a churro, so we had to create something to look like a churro.
Tell people it was a sex toy, Nigel.
It was a sex toy that someone had made for us from a women's prison in New York. And it was the only thing at my desk that was kind of the right shape. So I wrapped it with paper and gave it to him so he could pretend he was carrying it, holding a churro up.
I wasn't even trying to figure out what we was doing. I was just standing there to have a perspective.
Yes, exactly. And I had Minnie Mouse ears. But there was just a white wall behind us, so he really had no idea.
Did you put Disneyland behind you?
Yes, so it got very complicated.
Okay.
And to make it all work right, we have this illustrator, Damien Linane, but he has to work from photographs. And so we had to create like a composite almost to put all the different components together to give to him. So then I showed the illustration to Tom, the completed illustration.
Okay.
Hey, oh, look at Earlonne. Hey, this is cool. You look like you're screaming in horror, though. at the tiniest churro ever, like. Okay, I see the castle. It's in the way it looks. It's like the pillars, and then it's like the little triangle roofs, right? And then I see you on the left-hand side wearing the little Minnie Mouse ears with the bow tie, like the polka dot bow tie, and your hands up like you're gonna hug Earlonne or the churro, but your face, you have an open mouth, your eyes look like really big, kind of looks like you're smiling, but at the same time it looks like you're horrified. You're like, ah! And then there's Earlonne off to the right, and you see the profile of his face, right? And his left arm with a churro, but the churro is like hella tiny, and it looks like he's trying to feed it to you, and that's why you look like you're freaked out. Is that what you guys were trying to do?
No!
Okay.
So I was trying to, when they were taking the picture, mimic being in love. That was me trying to be excited.
Does this look like she's in love?
No, she doesn't.
What did this look like to you?
She was supposed to be happy, right? Yeah. And it's something she was like, okay.
This is funny, though. I really appreciate it. I'm also, like, it's just making me laugh, the look of terror on your face.
Well, just think of it. It's supposed to be love. So how does it feel seeing this?
It cheered me up. Right when I saw it, it made me laugh. Like, I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I knew that it would be hard for you guys to do it. I thought maybe you guys would just, like, Photoshop it in the background. But that's hilarious. I like this even better.
So does this make you want to have this scene happen all the more?
Yes. I'm going to go do that pose, right? If I can get out of here, I'm going to tell my girl, look terrified when I'm standing there like I'm going to hug you. Just look scared as hell. And I'm going to send you guys the picture.
No pressure, but what did you learn about each other through the photographs?
That Thumb actually has emotions that are happy. That Sadiq cares more about other people than he acts like he does. And that I actually was able to heal from my past.
Believe it or not, there's one last bit to this story.
So you just don't want this to end, huh?
Earlonne, you know me well. At the beginning of this project, I had told the guys if any of them wanted to bring a photograph down to the studio to destroy because they wanted it out of their lives, they could. I don't think it really connected with anybody. And so I thought we were all done. But Sadiq took me up on it.
So do everybody want to see the picture first before I start tearing it up?
That's Thug Sadiq.
That's the Thug Sadiq.
Young Thug Sadiq.
Okay, so it's a picture. It's taken at night. It's out in front of a building.
We're inside a movie theater.
Oh, you're inside a movie theater. And Sadiq is wearing a black sweatshirt. I think you have a black cap on, some kind of
A beanie cap.
beanie cap. And there's a young woman in front of you that's wearing a sundress and a big necklace. She's smiling big. She's actually holding your hands. Your hands are around her. You have a pretty serious look on your face, not a look that I recognize. I guess what I notice most are the hands, the way your hands are kind of passively there, but it doesn't feel very affectionate.
I didn't look at it like that. Yeah, I think I was 19. I was drinking that night too, I remember. And the reason why I want to demolish this picture is because this is who I used to be. And I really don't want to have any memory of this person, so.
And who was that?
A person that was lawless. A person that really didn't care about affection, as you see. I was at that I don't give a fuck stage. This is where I really felt like I was somebody. I thought I was somebody. I was 19. I was young. I was wild. Can nobody tell me nothing? And I don't want to be like that no more. I don't want to be that person that's not affectionate or act like I don't care. Yeah, so I think this was long overdue. And I'm sorry I have to chop her up too, but I have other pictures of her, so that doesn't really, So I'm gonna go for this part first. I'm just gonna get ripped.
That one's easy. Okay, ripped it in half, pretty much 50-50.
Ripped it in half, yeah. Get rid of my face first. I think I'll get rid of this face.
Is that enough?
I do want to go smaller.
Yeah.
Just only a picture, but for some reason I feel like I'm being relieved of something. Like I'm letting something go.
You've gotten rid of it. Now they're getting into really small pieces. And mostly what's left now is black negative space. Isn't that funny? Now when you see the picture like this, you realize what percentage of it was empty dark space.
I know, huh? It's a lot.
Yep. And only
only a little bit of color.
Yep.
Some dark days.
Yeah. So you can throw it out and move on?
Yeah, definitely.
Becky, I am so excited to hear your voice.
Hi, everyone. I've got a voice now and can talk, which is amazing.
I know it was a little rough when we were last together. So thanks for making time to come back and talk to us again.
I'm so glad to be here. What are the odds that you lose your voice the day you're invited to the podcast?
So I'm really curious what you thought about the episode and sort of your thoughts on what you imagined it would be and what it actually ended up being.
I think there were so many possibilities. And, I would have loved to hear more about almost all of the photos. I did think it was interesting how the individuals all focused mostly on themselves, and it was less kind of external influenced. In my mind, I was thinking, there's going to be photos of, niece at 2 years old, and then family photo at a birthday party or something, events that maybe are being missed. It was super interesting to hear the importance of like a baby photo.
That really stuck with me.
Yeah, and showing it to your buddies.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. I know Earlonne can hear me, but if I whisper, maybe he won't. Will you ask Earlonne what surprised him about the episode?
Earlonne, did anything surprise you about the episode?
Tom, his lack of having pictures surprised me.
Yes.
Because what he had, 26 pictures,
26
one
pictures,
for each
28,
year?
yeah. I mean, it was crazy. I was shocked he had so few pictures.
Yeah, that's like he's really about feng shui, lifestyle,
Okay, here's a hard question for both of you. What is like the one part of the episode that stayed with you? It could be a very small thing.
At first, I was puzzled by the farmer's market HIV diagnosis request. it wasn't clear to me why that was something like a moment you would want to have quickly accessible.
You know, Becky, that's so curious to me too, because when he asked me to make that picture, I never thought to ask him why.
To me, it was memorable because it was the moment he found out he was infected.
Yeah. But would you want a picture of that? Like, it's not a great memory.
It changed his life, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I really loved your suggestion. It was so fun to work with that because it was a topic I've always wanted to figure out how to work into the podcast. So thank you so much for the suggestion.
No, it was real fun to go along on the journey, and I learned a lot, and I love where you took it.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thanks, Becky.
Hi, this is Becky Bach. Ear Hustle is produced by Nigel Poor, Earlonne Woods, Amy Standen, Bruce Wallace, Rasan New York Thomas, and Kat Shooknecht. Shubnam Sigmund is the managing producer. The producing team inside San Quentin includes Derrell Sadiq Davis and Tam Nguyen. The inside managing producer is Tony Tafoya. Thanks also to Odisteo San Pablo. Thanks to Warden Andes at San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, Warden De La Cruz and Lieutenant Williams at the Central California Women's Facility, and Acting Warden Parker and Lieutenant Newborg at the California Institution for Women for their support of the show. Thanks also to this woman here.
I am Lieutenant Giamari Berry, the Public Information Officer here at San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, and I approve this episode.
Earlonne Woods sound designs and engineers the show with help from Fernando Arruda, Harry Colhane, Derrell Sadiq Davis, and Bruce Wallace.
Music for this episode comes from Antoine Williams, David Jossie, Derrell Sadiq Davis, Fernando Arruda, Lee Jaspar, and me.
If you want to learn more about this episode and all of our episodes, sign up for our monthly email newsletter, The Lowdown.
You can see photos, go behind the scenes to find out what the Ear Hustle team is up to, and more. Sign up at earhustlesq.com/newsletter.
You know what? I got to say something. There's going to be some extra funny photographs from this episode.
Really?
One that is a little shocking.
Really?
And you know what I'm talking about.
Think he's going to get us banned?
We're going to find out. Ear Hustle is a proud member of Radiotopia from PRX, a network of independent, creator-owned, listener-supported podcasts.
Discover audio with vision at radiotopia.fm.
I'm Nigel Poor.
I'm Earlonne Woods. Thanks for listening.
It's in my wallet. I always have it with me. And then about a year and a half ago, my purse got stolen. And for some reason that day, I had taken it out of my wallet. And if all the things that got stolen that day, if I had lost that photograph, that would have been the worst because I could not replace it.
Radiotopia.